Well, hello.
All
Well,
right.
hello.
All
Well,
right.
hello.
Oh, shit.
Well,
All right.
hello.
All right. All right. I think that should do it. That should do it.
Hey, sorry, it cut out. Are you still there? Hey, sorry, it cut out. Okay, awesome. I think everything should be fixed now. I'm still in Missouri at the minute, so my internet is not as stable as it usually is in California. Hello? Some. Some.
Although I can't tell if you're cutting out or not.
No, I think everything should be fine. I'm just kind of, I've never like done anything like this before. I did an interview once before, and uh, yeah, it was a fun situation, but that was not for me. That was on behalf of an org. Sorry. Okay. Awesome. Oh, wow. Oh no, I'm sure it's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure the details of the situation. So I don't know how much I would be able to speak for that. I saw what was clipped and posted on Twitter earlier, and I did tweet a couple of things in response about it, but that was that was my extent of the knowledge on the situation. I would say so. I've never watched her stream before. I usually I usually watch competitive streamers myself, so not necessarily like the type of content I usually watch. Mhm. No, 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 no. I'm an affiliate. I One day, hopefully, that's a dream, but that takes a lot of work and dedication and consistency, and I haven't been at a place right now where I've been able to put in that consistency that my community deserves. I've done esports management and Overwatch management in the past as a general manager. And I've done community content and social media management for esports before. It's super fun. It's always great whenever you're able to find a good group of people who are interested in making content and just kind of like putting out like good messages together. It's really cool if you have like that centralized energy. Yeah, I do some film projects. I've shot a lot of short films, and I've shot a feature length film that actually won some awards in a couple of Canadian film festivals, which was really cool. I didn't like Yeah, it was really cool to work on the set. That was one of my first professional experiences. But I recently just shot a couple of projects myself for my cinematography class. I'm about to graduate with a media production major, and I'm looking into getting back into content creation for myself and for esports and just do more film projects. Like I'd love to get on some film shoots. I really like thriller genres. It's really fun for me. Not off the top of my head. There's too many. Some of them are just so good. I remember one that comes to mind if I have to think about it quickly would be The Others. When I was like a little kid, I used to watch that and get very freaked out by it. It was a really cool movie. Very nice twist on the end. Oh, Alien's good.
Feeling it's amazing.
I would put Alien more into like a monster type category though than thriller for me. I like those psychological thrillers. It's more my range. But I do like monster and horror flicks as well.
Yeah, I think it's been officially titled as a horror thriller movie, but I can see where it'd be a monster movie as well. If we're talking about the original.
Yes.
Yeah, so one of the things that I've been seeing is I want to get back to this girl that we were talking about earlier. Oh shit, she's
I
live.
want to
Okay.
say
So one of the things that she's been doing is she ripped on someone for not having $10 to spend on a subscription, and I go in her little description and whatnot, and all her stuff is directly related to being a sub. And she also said something about being the most effervescent person you'll ever meet.
hmm.
Now, you said that when we were talking earlier on Facebook, you said something about Overwatch community talking about this.
I think that's probably like one of the things that's going on because I follow a lot of other Overwatch streamers, and that's just where I saw it from was people I've known in the Overwatch community. And that's mostly where my content is based around and other competitive first person shooters. If you can call Overwatch that. But I think that's just because like I've seen most of their tweets and their comments, and that's where it originated in my feed. Uh, and so being within that same pool of people, that's where I saw it come out first.
Of course. And well, I was gonna ask if you saw anything interesting about more about what's going on with this, but then I remember earlier you said you didn't.
Yeah, no, I've like heard of things like this happening in the past before or seen other people like have situations like this in the past. I know some people have gotten clipped out of context as well. Um and like not necessarily been meaning what it looked like they said, but like it just this one in particular, it was very direct about the message.
I've actually seen that a lot. That's probably one of the worst things about the internet is a lot of people can get away with posting stuff out of context.
Yeah, it's a concerning issue, especially since like there's always a whole for things. Like you always have to look at a whole thing if you can. Context is important in a lot of situations, but I think that at the end of the day, we just gotta try and be the best people we can be.
All right. Well, as a, it seems that a lot of this gets off because she's being called a Twitch thought and an e-girl, and you are one of the few female streamers that I know personally, and I just know you as a streamer. I don't normally call you a female streamer. And how do you feel about all this stuff about the e-girls and them? Oh, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. Uh, some of them look like they're flaunting what they have essentially. What's your take on all that?
I kind of just mind my own comment, like my own content. Like to me, I kind of figured out myself and what kind of stuff I want to put out, and like I'm not perfect, but I try to keep themes of like practice and tolerance and uh open communities and trying to keep positive mental attitude. I mean, like I get tilted and boom sometimes on games too, but I kind of just focus on my own content and figure that each individual creator is going to do what each individual creator is going to do. I'm not a fan of anybody using any form of derogatory or hurtful terms. I think that that is like it's as simple as flower from Bambi. Like if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. um, I think that it's really important to just kind of do what we do and work on our own stuff and like find your tribe through the kind of stuff that you enjoy. So just because like something might not be my brand of tea or whatever, that doesn't mean other people can't like go and enjoy their form of stuff.
All right, and have you ever been personally attacked because of things like this? Like, have people come on your
Um,
stream and started talking about stuff like, oh, it's a female and try to find derogatory terms and whatnot?
oh yeah, I mean that happens. It's really unfortunate. I mean, I've made like TikToks about it, and tweets in the past about like trolls or people that try to I don't know, make problems where there aren't problems or like just make unfortunate circumstances where there doesn't need to be one. Life is hard enough. We don't need to be kicking each other either. So, yeah, I've had my fair share of trolls in chat talking about me, what I'm doing, my gender, my appearance, and things like that. And it's just not cool. We should just be nice to each other.
Yeah, and then of course there's also game lobbies that I know can be a problem.
What was that you cut out? I'm sorry.
I know game lobbies can be a problem. Like I remember one time you sharing, I think, a clip from a stream, and a bunch of people in the lobby were just talking shit on Overwatch.
Yeah, that definitely happens. I had one not that long ago where it was really toxic like that too. And like just it happens in all games, especially competitive games. It's unfortunate, but there's always going to be somebody who's just like doesn't have good intentions and is just going to want to pick a fight for no reason or say bad things, and it's part of it, but like that doesn't need to be the focus or the standard or what is acceptable. The important thing is if you hear somebody or like interact with somebody who is putting out that kind of action or is being mean to somebody for whatever they're picking on somebody for, it's important that we step up and do our part to help fix the problem and say, hey, that's not okay. We don't talk to people like that. And like, it's hard to do in the minute, especially when it's loud and intimidating and things are hurtful. But I think that if you can try to stay calm and say, this is really not okay, That's the most important thing is to acknowledge the situation as healthily as you can.
Yeah, I've had some problems in the past. I think I was playing Mortal Kombat, which is essentially I'm bad at fighting games, so I had people in chat talking shit about me on that and being toxic. And the way I dealt with it was I ran with it. I made fun of myself. I know I'm bad.
I think that if you're comfortable with like self-depreciating humor, which is like what I sometimes go to myself, that's a fun way to kind of diffuse the situation. At least personally for me, it's not for everyone. Some people depreciating humor for themselves is just like not good for their mental either. But I definitely get it for the people who it works for. Like it's definitely a good way to like for me break tension and be like, I'm not trying to go pro at the game. It's a game I'm playing. I'm having fun. I'm like sharing what I enjoy with people, and that's what matters.
Yeah, and then, like if we really want to talk about toxic community, just go back on the 360 for Xbox and
Oh
look at
my
Modern
gosh.
Warfare 2.
Oh no.
I've been in those lobbies, man. People today wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, I didn't have a personal experience with those kinds of lobbies. I played a
Ah,
lot of like solo games or like non-mic games a lot growing up. My first game was Diablo 2, and that was all just like type chat at the time and like just like kind of either self vibes or like grouping up with like people you knew. And then I played like through like all the Assassin's Creeds and like Elder
yeah,
Scroll games. Like that was kind of like my foundations. And Overwatch was like actually my first competitive like multiplayer game that I got into. So that was my exposure to, whoa, this is how it can be.
oh yeah, you missed out on a lot. I've heard so many insults that cannot be repeated on stream
Yeah.
due to TOS. Ooh, I was I was a kid too. I was young when I was introduced to the Xbox Live community. Oh man, they were something else.
Jeez. Yeah, no, the only people that I like usually like actually give a hard time is my own friends, and like we have an established relationship like where we can kind of like tease each other and give each other a hard time or like make fun of faults or things like that. Like very rarely like will I like engage in that kind of like I don't know. I try not to. Like I'm not perfect. I've gotten that way in the past, like not attacking but like defending myself if it's happened to me and just like gotten louder, try to
Yeah,
shut the other person down. But I've learned a lot and matured from like the first times those have happened to like now where it's like, somebody's gonna take time out of their day to be completely toxic like that in a game. Like you kind of have to feel bad for them because that's all they're like doing.
I think a lot of people find comfort in the toxic community some way, and me and my friends, we're assholes. We find it fun picking on each other, and I think like it never bothers us when we're in a toxic community. I don't know anyone personally who's ever been truly offended by other people or would start an argument and start yelling at people like in the community.
I don't know. I don't. It's not my thing.
Well, let's go back to competitive play. You are known for Overwatch mostly. I think, as far as I know, that's the only game you've ever streamed.
No, I've streamed Dead by Daylight in the past as well.
That's
I've
right, I
done a little
remember.
bit of Apex Legends as well. I like Bloodhound and Wraith a lot. But I'm looking into I've gotten the Valorant beta key, but I haven't had time to actually play it just because I'm in my last 2 weeks of my school semester of my last semester before I graduate. So it's a lot of papers and projects now that everything's online due to the virus. Um, so I've been putting my education first over like the fun of getting to play, but as soon as I can get a chance to sit down and enjoy the game and sit down, like I'm very excited to play Valorant and maybe have like another game from Overwatch to play. But I also am looking in the future to kind of getting into more like the goal is when I get back and kind of full-time stream a little bit more is Overwatch 2 to 3 times a week, and then, a variety game at least once a week as well, or, like, after stream, gaming. But I like mystery games, spooky games, those are fun too. I haven't finished some of them because they were too scary, but, I think it'd be really fun to get back and do some more playthroughs of, like, those kinds of things. They're nice and chill, and you can kinda vibe with your community and, like, focus on your chat a little bit more, whereas with Overwatch, like, I talk in between games, I try to, like, answer questions or communicate any tips and tricks that I've learned. I'm not, like, a pro, I'm not great at the game, like, I acknowledge I'm bad in a lot of ways, like, I'm just diamond, so
Yeah, I
but
seem to remember myself playing that and getting a little too overexcited that I was doing a lot better than I did when I first started out.
yeah, definitely. I think that the big thing is just, like, you have to have, like, a balance between having enough of an ego to be confident in what you're, like, good at and knowing, "Hey, I'm actually really good at this hero," or, "These are things that I do on this hero that are really good," and then knowing, "Okay, I'm a feeder, and I'm not good at certain things on this hero, and I need to improve my aim or my positioning or my callouts or whatever it is that could make you a better player for your team." Because it is a team-based game, and you have to focus on how you can help make the game a 6v6 instead of a 5v6. Because if you're not bringing your 100%, like, that's not fair to your team.
Do you think you would ever go pro or consider going pro for Overwatch?
I would need a lot of coaching. I have a lot of really great, like, pro level friends that, like, have offered to kinda help me out a little bit, like, for learning more. And I'm really grateful for having them in my life to kinda keep me in check and be like, "Hey, you can get better." Um, but I don't ever see myself going pro as a player. I don't really have a desire to go pro as a player. I like doing my streams. I love esports. I love management. I love working with a team. I love social media, community, content side of esports, and I love that.
Okay,
But
so
being a player, no.
you would much rather like the social manager, like for teams, like managing like the Twitters
Yeah.
and the Instagram and whatnot.
Yeah, that's where my experience lies, and that's what I'm really comfortable with and enjoy. And I have a strong suit for that. I think that that's one of my more skillful areas. I've handled, highs for situations, and I've handled some harder situations that, like, a good media manager needs to be able to be prepared for. And, like, I'm not perfect, but I'm always striving to learn more and be better. And that's an important part is just acknowledging that you can always improve from where you're at for
What
whatever it is that you're doing.
what about shoutcasting?
Oh, shoutcasting. I've kind of thought about trying my hand at it. I think it would be interesting. Um I used to have not like speech issues, but I used to have issues of like mumbling or like slurring or stuttering um when I got really nervous or was in front of a bunch of people, and I think streaming has really helped me grow out of that because it feels like you're talking one on one with somebody or that you're talking to yourself in a lot of ways because it's just you and the camera and the game and you can kind of zen out. Um, but I noticed since I started streaming, I've gotten a lot stronger in the way that I've talked. I use less filler words. Ironically, I just used a filler word before I said that, but I've been noticing an improvement from the confidence that streaming is giving me on, like, speaking. So that would be something I would be interested in trying, but again, I don't necessarily know if that's, like, where my future lies. But I'm down for anything. I'm down for, like, even if I try it and it doesn't work out for me, supporting the other people who are doing that area of work. That's the thing about esports or content creation or like performance in general, because that's what at the end of the day esports is. It's a big production. It's just like the film industry, it's just like radio industry. Everyone is doing their best. It's like a game in a lot of ways. Everyone's doing their part, their role to come together to make the team and the outcome the best it can be. And that's what I really love about collaboration because it's a bunch of people working together making something beautiful.
That's an amazing way to put that.
Thanks.
All right, now since pro, you talked about doing streaming full time. How would you consider that like a solid future? Like you, if given the chance and the ability to stream full time and doing that more often, would you consider that as a main job for you?
Would I consider full-time streaming as a main job?
Yeah,
If you're able to do it, yeah, I definitely. It's a valid job. It's you bringing yourself and the things that make you you and your vulnerabilities and your skills to the table to share them with people and to create entertainment and communities and an experience. And in a lot of ways, streaming people don't understand that streaming is not just you turn on the camera, you play the video game, sometimes you talk to the chat, and at the end of the day, you're going to end up wildly rich and successful. There's a lot of factors to consider.
yeah. A
There's
lot
a
of it
lot
has
of
to do with luck.
I would kind of even disagree with that. I would say that luck may be an aspect. Um, I think that luck could be something on the side that like works with it. I think timing and opportunity and grinding in a lot of ways is a big part of it. I think a lot of it's learning and being flexible and the willingness to teach yourself because it's about learning how to talk to your audience. It's learning how to connect to what your audience wants and what your audience needs and giving that to them in the best and most authentic way possible. That to me is good streaming. Because you're either going to be able to bring a competitive professional level of playing if that's what your kind of content is, but like being a streamer isn't just gaming. There's people I know who are wildly successful for crafting or art or body painting
Yeah, I
or
know a few people like that.
cosplay. Yeah, and so it's finding what you're good at and bringing that to the table and sharing that and reaching your audience and like being able to get your message out to them. And that takes skill on social media platforms, delivering different content for each platform. A lot of people don't realize that it doesn't work as well when you're just posting the same material on all your platforms. You're not incentivizing new audiences to connect to you or for people to cross to your other platforms. Like, I'm not going to post the same stuff on Instagram that I post on Twitter because they're different people, they're different communities. I'm not going to talk to a friend that I have from high school the same way I'm going to talk to a friend from college. We have different experiences in the way that I see that. So it's like finding out the communication process that works for the audience on those platforms and what kind of stuff they want to see in the relationship you have with them and giving that to them.
All right, and see, let's focus on Twitch and how. What are you doing right now to prepare for full time streaming?
um So I'm gonna like kind of get back to the grind with Twitch when I get back to California. Right now I'm with my family in Missouri.
Yeah,
I don't have the internet connection to really do too much out here besides school, basic things like that. But recently I've gotten new sub badges for my channel from Risa Rambles. I'm very happy about that. And then I got new emotes from my friend as well, and those are all posted on my Twitter. Um, and they're like visible on my Twitch too, if you guys want to see them. But I got some Overwatch themed emotes of a variety of different interactions for the category I play, which is support. So I've got some Lucio, some Baptiste, some Mercy, because she's my girl, and Moira, because she's my other girl. And basically just like trying to make sure that when I get back, maybe I can do some giveaways. Maybe I can just sit down and really commit to like 4 hour or more long streams and like be prepared to give my all. Like I've been recently getting into cosplay as well. I did one cosplay stream before I had to stopped due to the virus and traveling for that.
Yeah.
I did Diva, which is really fun. I also have a Mercy cosplay in the works. I'd like to do Ash and Tracer as well. Tracer is one of my favorite Overwatch heroes of all time. As much as I love Mercy, I think Tracer is like maybe my spirit animal character. Like I don't know. Like it's she I admire her so much for her spunk and drive and for her willingness to see good,
She's
but
got moxie.
also yeah, and she's not afraid to fight for what she believes is right. And so I want to be more like Tracer. Like she's cool. I admire her a lot. Um but I think that that would be a really fun thing. It would be doing more cosplay. I've been doing cosplay on my TikToks as well. But uh yeah, so I also for Twitch streams, one thing that I'm really aware of is how privileged I've been to be able to go to university, to be in a position where I've had a really awesome education and really grateful for the things that I've learned and experienced. Like I'm still looking into possibly going into grad school, but everything's wonky with the application process right now due to the virus situation. Um, but I'm still also looking into internship opportunities as well. But I try to do like every once in a while like a seminar or a class. I like to call them workshops because to me they're more collaborative than teaching, where I'll bring to the table the things that I've learned from my education that I'm grateful for to a stream and say, hey, these are things that I know. These are things I've been taught by industry professionals that can help better your content, better your media, better your channel, help maybe with your organization process, and help with like goal making and planning and structuring. And like, I just have like a just talking stream where we do that with my community and like I'll go through their profiles or whatever they want to like look at and kind of like we'll give each other peer reviewed feedback on our content to help make it stronger. And that's something I really love doing so much because, like, you get to see so many beautiful and diverse things from these people who just have wonderful and unique ideas. And I love it.
Now, you brought it up several times how the coronavirus has made you move from California back to your home state. How all is it affecting you?
So I still actually have my apartment in California with all my stuff, and I have my roommate there, and she's been my best friend for like 9 years. And so everything's like fine for me and secured, thankfully. I also, because I'm a college student, and I'm very grateful and lucky to have my family's support. They help me financially right now. Um, and so right now, whenever the virus started happening, and everyone was getting concerned about what was going to play out with it before lockdowns really started happening, my parents asked me to come home for at least 2 weeks to um be safe, be with them. They live 2,000 miles away from me, so it was stressful for them to have their daughter so far away, and I had to deliberate on like what I was going to do about that, and ended up going back home like they requested to visit. And I've had some really good things here from that, like visiting my little brother who's 11 years younger than me, um and my getting to see my mom and dad, and kind of getting that opportunity. But it's also been really hard because like I said, I don't have my computer out here. I have my laptop, my gaming laptop, which is really great, but I don't have the greatest internet connection. My ping spikes all the time. I've had a hard time connecting to my online classes. I've had to upload short films that I've made here at the house for my cinematography class. And like a 1 minute long video will take like 30 minutes to an hour or more to upload sometimes, just
Jesus.
depending. Yeah, I'm in the middle of nowhere of like 13.5 acres of Missouri rural area. And so um it's sometimes hard to get a connection out here, but I'm making the best out of the situation that I can. But I'm also looking forward to the end of the semester, not stressing about graduating anymore because that'll be done as soon as I pass my classes. And getting to look to the future of my own brand, my own content, my own Twitch channel, internship opportunities, job opportunities, and hopefully grad school. I'm really excited about those prospects. And so it's just the process of waiting it out and doing my part to stay at home and to stop the spread and coming back whenever everything's okay to do that.
So you're self quarantining?
Yeah, I'm doing my social distancing. I'm doing this. I've been to the grocery store a couple of times to help, take care of the family. But we did all the things that were asked, and got what you needed to get, and then go back home. And I'm trying to do my part and be all responsible.
Yeah, the only thing I really miss is Dungeons and Dragons night and Magic the Gathering night.
That makes sense. I'm looking into starting Dungeons and Dragons. I actually just made my first character. I've never done it before, but I've been reading a lot of the lore and I'm still developing her story, but I rolled, I made her. I'm very excited to see where that goes, but I don't have a lot of Dungeons and Dragons experience, so I can't really speak on that yet.
Yeah, I just recently started playing as well, like within the last month, and right now I miss it so much that me and a few other people are trying to start a Discord D&D game.
Do it.
Oh man, I'm so excited if we actually get this working. Not only that, I've been writing my own, I guess you could call them skits. Yeah, because I found some other ones and I've been touching up on them, and then I'm like, oh well, shit, I can't film these. I have no cast.
Yeah, definitely.
And then that's another thing. You're doing film stuff. You're uploading. You said some short films that you've been making. What
Yes, I'm very excited.
you think you would go in doing your own filmmaking under your own brand?
I don't know if I would start like my own production company or anything, but like, I mean, I plan to work behind, my name Rion and plan to like do my own content and do those things. I like working with established like companies and production situations if I can. I'm definitely down for independent or whatever. Like it to me, it's all about the story. If the story is good enough to tell, I'll do anything in my power to tell a good story. So it's got to speak to me. It's got to be a message that I want to put out there.
You are already better than Hollywood.
Well, thanks. I guess.
It's like, do you know what a remake and a reboot is?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, a reboot is where they take something you already love, change it up just a bit to keep you interested, and then put it out for everyone to see. A remake is where they just take the name of something you loved and they completely fuck it up. Man,
I've seen a couple of situations where like it turned out pretty good though. So, I mean, it just depends. Like if you have like a good creative mind behind it and you try to do like the original piece justice or like you don't try to like tamper with the original piece like that people loved, like I think that you can probably tell a good story using original material that's already been established.
not, let's look at it like this. All right, you have a remake. Do you know what Point Break is?
I know what Point Break is. I haven't seen Point Break.
Oh God, you are missing out. The original Point Break with Keanu Reeves and the Sways. That is a great movie, and they remade it. They kept the name. They kept the name of the characters, but they completely fucked it all sorts. It was ruined. And then you
Mm,
have a reboot. Name a movie where you have a protagonist in the desert who gets called into a grand adventure. You have an antagonist who is tall, wears black, and wears a black helmet, and they have to destroy a giant space station that's capable of killing planets.
Oh, that sounds pretty familiar to me. Wink, wink.
Yeah, it sounds like A New Hope, right?
It does indeed.
Nope. The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I they did reuse a lot of the original quote unquote plots, but to an extent, the epic hero journey is the core to like a lot of sagas as well. So to an extent, like most of the stories that you're going to look at, the hero receives a calling from a source that is usually a mentor to the hero that later probably dies within the story, and after they've taught the hero just enough that they need to do, the hero has a villain that they go against who is seeking power or whatever over another group of people. The hero must save the day, but after the moment of darkness where they think that all is lost, there's like 9 steps to the epic hero's journey that is reused in everything. You can see it in Star Wars, you can see it in Harry Potter, you can see it in Lord of the Rings. It is the same story with different characters being told
Eh,
over and
eh,
over and over
I'm
again.
gonna
It
stop you
is
right there real quick. Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, nothing alike. I'm not. We're not having that conversation. Let's don't bring that up.
I'm gonna disagree with you. If you look at the epic hero's journey, they follow the exact same plot.
You're hurting me as a Star Wars fanboy.
I love both of them for their own unique things. And yeah, you have your own unique characters and your own unique spin, but it's all the Odyssey done over again. It's always the Odyssey. It's what it is.
Because the
Like
Odyssey established the hero's journey in writing.
technically yes, but if you wanted to go back further than that, you could even talk Beowulf because that was passed down verbally, but it was the hero's journey that was originally done in chanting verbal form. So
Technically, if you
Beowulf,
want to go back, the hero's journey started with Gilgamesh.
yes, it did start with Gilgamesh if we wanted to go back as far as that. But again, that was also word of mouth at first. But I think the one that most people usually go to is the Iliad and the Odyssey for the quote unquote epic hero's journey.
I, I think it's because it's well known, the most recognizable, and when you're more captivated by it, in a sense.
I mean, I personally loved Beowulf. Beowulf was really enjoyable to me.
I mean, if we're being honest, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh my gosh, the Count of Monte Cristo is so good.
That is my favorite movie of all time, and my favorite book.
It's so good. The movie is very, very good. The book is fantastic, but the movie is very good as well.
The movie
But
with
yeah, I
Guy
mean,
Pearce.
yeah, like if you look though, like almost every story, even book series are going to be that kind of plot line. That's the core foundations of the story that we like to hear. It sells.
And then I want to say that there are other movies that still have the hero but kind of changed it up. But now that I'm really thinking about it, I don't really know so much.
It definitely is hard to kind of find something that breaks that mold. Like I mean, even in movies as quote unquote unique or strange in a way as like Memento, if you know Memento, I mean, you can still find aspects of that basic story
Yeah, that's the
there.
Nolan verse.
Yeah. So it's just like the same thing, just different spins, but
Well,
it's cool.
let's look at a movie that still holds up today. And again, I'm bringing it up again because second favorite movie of all time, Alien. I want to say that's a bit more unique in its hero.
Mm, what makes you feel that Alien has a more unique hero? Because in a way, every hero is technically unique, even if they fit that plot mold of the epic hero. Like they are still unique characters. That's what makes them fun to watch. That everything has its own spin. But at the end of the day, it's a person who's been put into a situation where they have to fight a harmful threat.
Well, I think what kind of made it interesting about Alien is they didn't fight it. 'Cause I think that's what made it a bit scarier is that they couldn't fight the enemy. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had to stay away from it most of the time. When they tried to find it, there was no fighting chance. They all died. And even then, when Alien finally confronts the big bad at the end of the movie, she hides and she hopes the thing gets dragged out into airlock.
For me, that's why I enjoy those psychological thrillers myself, because in a way, like Alien, it's not something you can necessarily fight. Sometimes it's in your own head, or sometimes it's like whatever, but it's sometimes a lot harder to actually fight. I think one that was really well known, that's not necessarily my favorite psychological thriller, but a lot of people really enjoyed, was The Babadook. And I wasn't like thrilled or captivated with it, but I did enjoy like my first watch through of it because it had a cool message. Um and it was kind of a similar situation where it was something that it's not fightable in a lot of ways. Like you kind of like had to live with it. You kind of had to accept it.
If
And
we want to talk about something that's truly not fightable, Jacob's Ladder.
don't think I've seen that.
Oh, you're missing out on this. It is. I'm trying to think of a way to talk about it without spoiling it, because if you really like psychological thrillers and stuff like that, Jacob's Ladder should be your number one movie to
I
watch.
will put it on my list.
But do you know what Silent Hill is?
Oh yeah,
It's like that, but it's the best Silent Hill movie out there that isn't Silent Hill.
cool.
I hope
I
that
should
makes
have
sense.
to. I should have to. Yeah, no, that sounds. I kind of get that. So I will put it on my list of something to definitely watch.
Alright, and let's see, I have a list of topics and things here. Now, as a movie, you're obviously a movie fan. Do you think if you were offered a chance to work on a sequel to a movie, would you do it? Like one of your favorite movies?
Like if I could pick like my favorite movie to work on, and like there's a sequel to that,
Yeah.
or like, well, yeah, I'd definitely be inclined to like work on a sequel. Like I have no discrepancies against sequels.
Do you think sequels are good in general?
I think they can be. I think they can be very well done. I think that if you don't try to like I think if you're trying to tell something that's like its own story in a sequel, then you can definitely like do a good job with it. Um it's harder to tell a sequel that expands so well on like the first. Like I mean my favorite movie of all time, and like I don't care if anybody teases me for this, but my favorite movie of all time is Boondock Saints. Like easy.
Yeah.
Um it was I remember the first time I watched it, there was a tornado and I was on my cell phone watching it off YouTube during a tornado. And it was life changing for me. It was the first time I'd ever seen a story kind of told out of order like that. It was the first time that I'd like loved characters from other stuff before and been like really attached to characters before, but like I'd never connected with characters like I did like Connor and Murphy. And Boondock Saints became my world and my tilting point, and to this day is still an absolute daily influence for
Well,
me.
that's how we became friends. Was
Yeah,
Boondock Saints.
definitely. I think the second movie had its own really nice things about it. I really liked a lot of things the second movie had. And I like that it kind of told a continuation of the story and told a new story and added on instead of trying to like I don't know, ride out the first one and just like take an easy one. There was a unique thing about it. It was a new thing and it was fresh. But it also like paid really good tribute to the origins of the first movie. And that's why I think the second movie worked for me.
Yeah, and then I
Even though I hate the ending of the second movie. I'm very frustrated about the ending of the second movie.
because it set it up as a cliffhanger. It set it up for another sequel.
Yeah, to me, you really shouldn't do that unless you're guaranteed for a third,
And how long
another
have we been waiting for that third movie?
a while.
Yeah,
And
and then
that is a whole barrel of monkeys. That is a
yeah, and
whole
then there was the TV show,
mm-hmm.
and then there was the whole issue with if I remember correctly, because this is third-hand information that I got, that they wouldn't do another movie if the TV show was made.
It's a situation.
So I doubt we're ever
So
gonna get anything else.
yeah, I love the Boondock Saints. I've enjoyed the movies. I've enjoyed both of the movies. I've enjoyed the comic books. The comic books are actually really good. I actually have a first edition comic book signed by all of them, including Troy Duffy. Um, I love Boondock Saints. I would love to see Boondock Saints continue. I would love to see it. That's the best I can say on that.
Then here we go. Here's my next question. Like, what if you were offered the reins of Boondock Saints?
um, See, I have a really hard time answering this question, and because I care so much about the people involved, I've gotten really like lucky to meet a lot of people in that movie and like involved in that entire process. Like I've gotten really lucky to have them be parts of my life, like a part of my world. And so it's really hard for me to like talk about that situation cuz like I I want to see it done and I want to see it done right. And if I had an opportunity to like share, I have an idea in mind of what I would like to see. I have it arced out. I've written ideas of what I would like to see. But, I don't know. It's oh, that would be an opportunity. That would be very much an amazing opportunity.
And that's like me with Game of Thrones, because season 8 of Game of Thrones really pissed me off so
It did
much.
for a lot of people.
In the Battle of Winterfell with the Night's King and the White Walker, I had so many ideas on how to make that better, and I'm so disappointed on how it turned out. And then I'm I'm thinking back to Boondock Saints because I remember, because I want to say I remember this correctly, and I hope you don't get too embarrassed if I bring this up. Uh, didn't you write fan fiction at one point?
Yes, I actually did indeed write Boondock Saints fan fiction, and it blew up for a little bit of a while actually. That's how I actually first met Sean and Norman. I
I think this is a story.
I was I was like I think about 15 and I wrote like multiple multi-chapter Boondock Saint fan fictions. I still have many that I have not released. I co-wrote one with my best friend who I consider the Connor to my Murphy in real life. Like she's my roommate, like I said, who I've been friends with for 9 years. Like
Is this
she's
who I
like
think
my
it is?
twin. This would indeed be the amazing Carissa Baker.
Okay. I didn't want to
Um
name drop in case anything.
No, this would definitely be the amazing, creative, talented actress and director and producer Carissa Baker. I love her. Um, but we've co-written a bunch of Boondock Saints stories together. I've written many one shots. I've written all those things. I met her actually writing those fan fictions. We met because of that platform of the stories that I wrote at the time that like that I just and I took them to Comic-Con and I gave them to the actors
Oh my god.
and I asked them because I'm 15 and I'm like YOLO, I have all of the energy in the world. This is and I asked them to give me I gave one to Rocco, I gave one to Sean, and I gave one to Norman, and I asked them to give me feedback if they had the time. And um they were all very kind enough later to say that they really enjoyed my work. And it was really cool. Like I remember Sean messaging me like after reading them and he was like, "Yeah, they're really good. Like you got to keep writing." And that's what made me go to school for storytelling actually
Oh my
because of
god.
Sean Flannery.
I would be so embarrassed.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still embarrassed to this day because like I read them when I was older and was like, wow, that could have been better. But um, I think I'm wanting to try to find that blend of me being more experienced about storytelling and knowing how to write and be a better storyteller. With the same spunk that I had to be able to drop those in front of them and not care. um because it was definitely intimidating, but like I mean I've gotten to have wonderful relationships with those actors from that experience just because of that, and like been grateful for the influences that their work has done and that their just kindness towards their fans is and that's awesome. I'm really grateful for them. I think they're all really wonderful people.
I'm still laughing at the fact that you gave them your fan fiction.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about reopening my fan fiction now that I'll be out of school and can kind of get back into doing passion projects again and love stuff again because like I don't know for anybody else in university who feels this, but like homework burns you out. The reading, the essays, everything that you have to do. I have a 25-page paper due by Friday that I'm still working on. And like it burns you out. It leaves you just doing everything that you can and trying to do your best, but like at the end of the day, you do the things that are required and you don't really have the energy or time to go and be like, "Hey, I feel like writing fanfic," or "Hey, I feel like doing all these things," but like on top of that, I also stream and on top of that, I play competitively and all that jazz. But like I'm just trying to get through the rest of the semester right now even, and I'm trying to also play in a Overwatch tournament this upcoming weekend. I'm playing on a PS4 tournament. And so just between those two things, I'm like, geez. But I I want to start doing fan fiction again, I think, and I'd probably definitely go back to my Boondock Saints origins as one of the fandoms I'd be working out of.
And I imagine the other would be The Walking Dead.
Possibly. I kind of I did write a couple stories for Walking Dead, but I never posted them. Um, I was actually looking to start a fresh account possibly because like Lord knows if anybody even remembers me off of my old account. But with Walking Dead, I loved the first, I believe, 5 to 6 seasons of that show. I loved it. Like it was like I needed it to be Sunday. I needed The Walking Dead. And then it kind of like fizzled for me a little bit until Negan came in, and then I was loving the Negan story. Loved the Negan story. And then even at that point, like it eventually kind of dried out for me again.
I think
And
The
then
Walking Dead ended for me when Rick left.
that was so hard. Like to me, that was just like, guys, like the main character, dudes. Like, how are we
It's a
gonna keep going?
dictatorship. Without Rick, there is no show.
I love the dictatorship. I loved it, but
Although I will say that I am a huge fan of Negan.
See, I know people who just like can't accept Negan, but I like I
Or
like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he's a very talented actor. He's very good at like subtleties and like playing complex characters.
I think
And
he truly brought Negan to life.
I think so too. I can't think of a better casting for Negan. And like I know some people like commented originally when he was first picked because Negan in the comic books was such an important character that yeah, that was just like a big thing for people.
Yeah, and they got
But
with his introduction, they got to get away with the uncensored lines.
yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. And that was not the first time that Walking Dead had done mature language. They had done that also at what's the other one? Terminus. They did do that and there is an alternate version of Rick saying they're messing with the wrong people. Um
Yeah,
from
but
when
this
they're in the storage
Negan
unit.
that we're talking
But
about.
this was Negan. This was like the living, breathing, like the dude is like a consuming character. He just has absolute presence and dominates the screen. Like you linger on everything he says and does. And to have a character be that demanding, you have to have an actor as talented as Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
And they
But the new
changed up.
has sparked my love again. The new season has gotten me like again. I'm very excited every Sunday night. I'm like Walking Dead time. I'm looking it up online. I'm like I don't know if I want to read spoilers, but I also can't wait. Like I mean, the new season's gotten me feeling that old feeling of I love The Walking Dead. I'm so excited for it again, and
Well,
that's made me really happy.
they've given Carl's story to Judith.
They did. They really did. And I love Chandler Riggs. Like he's also a very talented actor. Like he did such a good job with Carl. So, I really wish Carl was like I wish his storyline was still continuing, but
Well, I mean,
I
for
think the
those
girl
who
who's
read the
playing
comic, we know how it ends.
yeah, but I think that the girl is playing Judith. I unfortunately don't know her name off the top of my head. But she's doing a really good job. She's been a really good presence as well. She does a really good job of bringing like this very innocent perspective on things, but like this child who is growing up in this wild situation where it's still trying to find civilization. And I think she's given a very wonderful performance for the position that her character's in.
And not only that, it's an original character for the show, essentially.
Essentially, yeah.
Because, spoiler alert for those who haven't read the comics,
Yeah.
Judith dies
Yeah.
while they're still at the prison.
Yeah.
So, there is no character written out for Judith. There is no story development for her written out in the comics. So, everything they're doing with her in the TV show is completely new.
Yeah, she's limitless. She can go anywhere where she needs to go, and I'm excited to see how she continues to play out. So, I think it's really one thing that's been really fun for me, at least because like, yeah, Boondock Saints, I am a fan of Norman Reedus. I love Norman Reedus. I love Daryl. I actually found Norman Reedus through Daryl. Um has been watching him go from the unappreciated, really not liked loner character from the very beginning to a leader and like a family figure to so many people and has like grown out of so many fears and a traumatic background and has like overcome a lot of inner demons and outer struggles as well to this position of responsibility where the character he was in the first season would have never done such a thing. Like I think that the story arc for him has been really fun to watch, especially knowing that especially from the last few episodes of this season that he's still struggling with certain things and like struggling with his traumatic background.
You know,
And
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 I imagine he's still dealing with the death of Merle in some way as well.
yeah, I would say that's definitely always going to be something for him.
And,
I
and you
don't
know,
know if he
Rick
ever
piled
played.
up to that as well.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever played the video game Survival Instinct, but that had some background for him as well, and that was really fun.
Yeah, it's been a while. I haven't played it since it came out.
Yeah, I played through that game I don't know how many times because I just enjoyed the game a lot.
Well, since we're on the subject of zombies and whatnot, let's get into something fun. Do you have a zombie apocalypse plan?
I used to have a solid zombie apocalypse plan. I used to think about what would happen if the zombie apocalypse actually was real and I had to get out of the city. Who am I grabbing? Where am I going? And at this point, like, I've just been like so consumed with like everything else going on in my life. I don't really have a solid one anymore. For me, it would be harder because I normally live in Los Angeles, and those populated places they go fast. But I think the big thing is like getting out of the city, trying to get somewhere where you can be with a solid group or anybody that you would take with you. Um, and I think a lot of people have kind of like not comparing it to like what's currently going on now, but like just like a lot of people have mentioned that it feels in a lot of ways very apocalyptic and they feel like they're out of The Walking Dead. And like I know it was a lot of tension for a lot of people. It was scary to me going to the grocery store and seeing it look looted. It looked barren in a lot of ways. And like having to kind of get creative of, well, where are they actually selling toilet paper? Where are they actually
I don't
selling?
know where that started. I don't. Whoever started buying toilet paper that got everyone else to buy it, I hate you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to me it was funny cuz like I remember sitting with my roommate in Los Angeles before I came out to Missouri and being like, "Okay, well, we need to go find the goods now because everything's sold out." Cuz like we'd been to like three different grocery stores and like a couple of CVS's or Rite Aid. I kid you not, everything was sold out. Like there were like people selling it like marked up for like $10 a roll. Like I kid you not, this was happening on the street corners of Los Angeles. And it's like I remember there's like a little liquor store like 2 blocks down from me. And we were like, let's just walk down there and see if they have like any basic items. We went down there and they had their entire shelves. They had food, they had like ramen packets, they had like all kinds of stuff. They had like they had a shelf just full of toilet paper. So it takes getting creative thinking about like what you could do in that type of situation. That was funny.
I mean, I think my plan is to wait a 3 days to a week, let everything get crazy and out of the way, and then head south.
I think that's a good option. I think it would probably be more than 3 days to a week of waiting because I mean, it would take probably 2 to 3 weeks for things to kind of run it a regular course. I think before you could actually like move somewhere because people are going to be consistently on top of each other trying to get out even for like a week because you've got the people who are thinking, oh, I'll wait 3 days to a week and then try to move. So you'll see the people who hid and bunkered down trying to leave at that point. And that's when you get another influx of people and zombie food running around.
I have plans written up. I used to be really into it. I even have the zombie survival guide book.
I remember that.
All right,
But yeah,
I have another fun question for you. Say America is going into we're going back to the old styles. We're gonna elect a king. You can have anyone can be king, whoever you want. Who would you pick, fictional or in real life?
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer this question. um, I don't know. I I I don't know. I really have no idea who to put up for my vote as King of America.
Really?
Like, I really don't. I have no idea. Like, I can't think of like a meme answer or a real answer. I'm just like my mind goes blank when I hear that. I'm like, why are we doing this?
Really, no Aragorn for king.
Aragorn's cool. I like Aragorn. He's pretty cool. Uh, yeah, no, I
I like that
fine.
this is the question you go blank on.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna just say, yeah, sure, fine. We'll go with Aragorn. He's cool.
I was prepared to go Negan. Oh man. Oh. I think I'm running out of topics on my list here. I have to start making stuff up. How about you? Do you have any topics that you would want to talk about?
Um, I don't know. We've covered like a wide range of things today. We've talked about Twitch, we've talked about streaming, we've talked about, films, we've talked about video games. There's a lot of content today. That was a very fun ride.
Yeah, I think this would. I think we can go ahead and end stream here because I've run out of things to talk about, and
I
I couldn't get anyone else to join. Otherwise, we may have had more stuff to talk about then. But I think for a first episode of the Out of Spite podcast, this was pretty good.
Well, I'm really grateful that you considered me and reached out to me and had me join today. Like I know that like some topics are like hard to talk about, um especially like when it like considers like just how people treat each other, but it's important that we have conversations and we come to the table with a good mindset and like unconditional positive regard for talking about the other people and situations and trying to make the best out of things and just trying to say, we're all going through life. Life can be hard for people. We all going to make mistakes, but at the end of the day, we just try to do our best and try to right our wrongs and we try to lift each other up. And I think that it's really cool that we got to have that conversation today. So I'm really grateful for getting to chat. I had fun.
All right. Well, before I end the stream here, I do have a couple things to say. First off, I want to ask: is there anything that grinds your gears?
Thing grinds my gears. Like personal pet peeves or just like
Things that have happened recently, personal things like pet peeves like that, something that gets on your nerves and stuff like that. Anything that grinds your gears.
I have a lot of things that grind my gears. Um I think people like one thing that really grinds my gears is like not backhanded comments. It's not like quite I'm like looking for, but like indirectness to an extent. Like I know I can be indirect as well. I try to be more direct now than I have been in the past.
Yeah,
But I think people
like
like when
tweets
people
they're talking
expect you to
about
read
stuff.
minds.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Like when you're expected to kind of just like know something and like out of like context clues, so somebody saying, hey, like this hurt my feelings and I'm not mad but I want to express to you that like that this kind of hurt me a little bit, and then instead just like let it like kind of fester and sit. That drives me insane. Like it's just like just tell me, I'll apologize, I have no issue apologizing. Or situations like that, or like when you're supposed to be able to tell or read minds of somebody
Yeah,
like
like when
that's
you
just
see a
like
tweet that's talking
no.
about someone or it's talking about you, but it's not really said, and then like if you mention it, it's like, well, the shoe fits.
Subtweeting
Yeah,
is its own monster. Like I get like that's the thing. I've always wanted to kind of be all like on Twitter, subtweeting, why? But then it's also like, well, you're subtweeting subtweeters if you do that. So, because that's the thing. If you like say, hey, this kind of annoys me, then like you're kind of complaining about it too. But I don't know. It's just I'm not a big fan of like subtweeting. To me, it's like I would never like subtweet somebody that I know, or like I don't really subtweet in general, but I would like rather have a conversation one on one with somebody for a situation than like put stuff on media. Like people will work, people do stuff, and like there's no point in bringing like bigger people or like outside circumstances in. Just be nice to each other and fix the problem.
All right, and I think if anything grinds my gears is people buying toilet paper.
Is what?
People buying out all the toilet paper.
Definitely.
All right,
I'm like, no.
do you want to, shout yourself out real quick?
Sure, yeah. So this has been Rion. You can find me on Twitch for Twitch TV. It's the Rion. I play, as you've heard, Overwatch and other competitive games, community situations, and kinds of things like that. I am a content creator and a media community content manager for esports and film. Um, I am on Instagram and Twitter for my real name, which is Kendra Hastings, and I am It's the Rion on TikTok for my gamer content. And other weird stuff that I put on there, which is fun. But yeah, I'm also on YouTube, but you can find any of my social media links. They're all kind of attached to each other on any of those platforms. Um, I'm always looking to connect to new people, try new things, and make cool stuff happen. So if you're interested in connecting with me, best place to do that is my Discord. And that is on my Twitch and on my Twitter as well.
All right. Well, this has been the Out of Spite podcast, the first episode. Later, everyone.